Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome, and please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out a lot in sharing all of our content here. Today we're going to go take a look outside the greenhouse at a no-turn compost pile that we had started about 2 weeks ago roughly, and we have yet to check on it. So I kind of wanted to see what was going on because we had used a whole bunch of unbroken down material with some partially composted material. So I kind of did a little experiment on that. We're sitting about 65 degrees in our greenhouse here, about 66, and we're sitting about 34 degrees with wind outside today. I mean, I'm underdressed, but I've been working in here. It's definitely warmer in here than it is outside. I've got my windows sealed up and we've got no air leaks, so we've got no wind blowing in and out. So we're basically just cycling our geothermal all day and all night. I've acquired another battery and I got a couple more I've got to go grab, so I'm going to continue adding to that system. So I'm going to be able to continue working and adding to this little system because I'm going to have to move water with it eventually. So I want a deep system that I can really run all winter and not have to worry about. We've got our timer hooked up. So this has proven to be very, very productive, and we're able to run this basically 24/7. So I'm getting a little off subject here. I've got a long list of stuff I've got to do inside and outside the greenhouse before winter actually hits. We had our first minor snow yesterday, which wasn't but a dusting, but it was still a sign of things to come. So we've got our compost pile, and it is just haphazardly covered with some old recycled tarping and rubber mats here. Here is our decent little pile, and we've got our fan that has been constantly running. It doesn't look like it's running very fast, but it's actually spinning so fast I can't see the blades, but on the screen the frames per second are matching the blade speed. It's pretty interesting. Take a look inside this pile here. I kind of just want to split it all up. We had a lot of sticks and a lot of fibrous material that's kind of just breaking right down. Go right down to the middle here. I was worried about over aeration, but it seems like we've got decent moisture content throughout this pile, and no turning it isn't too bad. It's not a whole lot of work like normal composting. Some decent unbroken down material right here. I can see where there's pockets in it. We have definite pockets where the air isn't getting to and where the air is kind of robustly pushing through. We're making some really good compost here. This actually looks amazing, but we're not going to be killing like weed seeds and other pathogens and bad stuff that can transfer through your compost to your next round of plants next season, or into my greenhouse even. So I really like to stick with my hot composting, and this can be done in a hot composting setting because the more oxygen you have, the less chance you have of going anaerobic and starting to form methane, because methane can only be formed in the absence of oxygen. So the more oxygen we pump in this, technically the more heat we could get to this pile and the longer it could possibly burn. So in a hot composting setting, if you can stick some type of aerator pipe and forcefully introduce air, you're in a way better situation and you can have faster compost. And even in a cold composting situation where we have mostly broken down or not a whole lot of material that's going to cook hot, you can definitely get some good oxygen flow to the bottom of it so it rises up through your pile, and you can still get a lot of broken down material without the presence of a whole lot of heat. So I kind of wanted to just make those observations for everyone because I wanted to check this all out myself. I just haphazardly had this little fan covered up from the rain just to protect it a little bit, and it's been running for about 2 weeks now on this little DIY system, and this was totally free to operate. I mean, this fan cost me like $15 4 or 5 years ago, and it's ran flawlessly. This fan is rather well put together and it's fairly cheap, so I can justify using a solar system and continuing to use this and use all the free energy from the sun that I can. I've got to get back to work here, so I'm going to get back inside the greenhouse. We are waiting on our load of wood chips so I can fill our ring out and put our fencing up, and we're going to have a nice hot composting system. I'm trying to acquire some type of tubing to go from one side to the other so I can get my hot air to flow through my compost. If I'm not able to acquire the metal tubing I want to set up some type of air heat transfer system, I'm just going to be stuck with only hot water. So I'll have to find quite a few ways to transfer all that heat and store it inside the greenhouse over winter. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and stay tuned for more updates as winter is setting in here.